Hello, sixth grade Bobcats. Mr. Flato here. First and foremost, I hope everybody is safe and making the most of this time away from school. I know it's very difficult. It's very difficult on the kids, very difficult on the adults as well. This is not how we were hoping the end of third quarter, fourth quarter of your sixth grade year was going to go. However, sometimes in life, we've got to roll with the punches, overcome, persevere, and make the most of what we are given. With that being said, I'm going to take the next couple days in your computer applications classes and begin exploring careers, sixth grade careers. I've put together some material. I'm going to spit some things out through Miss Erickson, 2, probably 3 days, have a general conversation about careers, give you guys some things to start thinking about in terms of what is it that we're doing here? What are we preparing for? Where are we going to find ourselves in the world someday? It's going to be kind of an exploratory process, and it's something I hope you guys enjoy. Um, Doing my best putting this together. It can't replace being there in person, obviously, and having those discussions and feedback. But we're gonna roll, push forward, and make it the best it can be. At the conclusion of every video lesson, I'm going to ask that you go into the other link that'll be sent, answer some questions so I can kind of see where you guys are at, see if you guys are picking up the material, get your guys' feedback. And through this process, I want you just to explore and critically think about your futures and what is it that you're going to be doing when you're an adult. Education for many of you at a minimum hopefully should be 13 years, some of you many more, but then that whole long span of being an adult and getting into a job or career is much, much, much longer than that. So hopefully we're preparing, and it's never too early to start thinking about these things. You get that forms, you turn it in. That comes back to me and myself, Miss Erickson, and you will be getting credit for that. Shouldn't take a whole lot of your time. So here we go on part one. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you enjoy this, and really can't wait to see all your awesome smiling faces next year in seventh grade. For now, this will have to work. Be good. All right, sixth graders, let's get rocking and rolling on our sixth grade career counseling part one. And the more I think about counseling, career counseling, excuse me, and getting kids your guys' age to start thinking about their futures and their careers, the thought, the saying, what will you bring to the table keeps coming to mind. So that is going to be our theme for part one here. Hope you guys enjoy that. And to get started, I'm going to ask everybody to take a few minutes and think about think about this question. Why are you here today? Now, normally I would be in your classroom, and so we would be sitting in Miss Erickson. Shout out Miss Erickson, her computer lab right now. So the why are we here today maybe isn't the best saying, but why do we get up and go to school 5 days a week for roughly 9 months a year when we're not in this crazy pandemic? Why do we do that? What is the purpose? I think it's really easy to get caught up in and lose sight of the fact of, well, we do it because that's what we're supposed to do, or that's what Montana state law says, or that's just what you do starting in kindergarten through 12th grade. But I'm encouraging all of you to think on a deeper level about all this. Like, what is the point of all this? Why do we get up, brush our teeth, comb our hair, get some breakfast, maybe get on the school bus, get a ride, walk, bike, skateboard, and come to school every day? What is that really about? Hopefully, your answer is not because I have to do it, parents make me do it, grandparents make me do it, guardians make me do it, state law makes me do it. Hopefully, your answer is somewhere along these lines. It's to prepare for my adult life after I graduate from high school, or to make an investment in myself and my future. Because if you think about it, coming to school and every day, that is what you're really doing. You're making an investment in yourself and in your future. Maybe it's to learn the skills and knowledge I will need to accomplish for my goals later in life, right? This is all preparation right now for later in life. To be Bob, to be your best, you need to equip yourself with an education and knowledge and skills, and we're going to talk a lot more about that here coming up. Or maybe so someday I can live independently as an adult. I would hope for a lot of you that that would be your goal, is to get out, get your own place without parents or guardians, and live independently. Or someday be a contributing member of society. If we think about this on a bigger level, and this is maybe, if anything, with this pandemic, it's made us all think about that, is the vast majority of us live in some sort of society, right? And the society most of us live in is Helena or in the Valley, and we're all part of a society where we're living together, and we're being contributing members of a society. And we'll talk about that more once we get into specific job career type stuff. Or maybe put myself in a position to be successful as an adult. Again, going back to that investment in myself and my future, putting yourself in position in the future to be successful, or maybe to learn more about the world and myself in preparation for figuring out my place in the vast world. So hopefully, to rewind, when I ask you, why are we here today? Why are we opening up our Chromebooks? Why are we doing our schoolwork? Hopefully we can reflect on the fact that our answer is one of these, and not because it's what I'm supposed to do, or it's because what I have to do. So the first thing I want to do today is kind of get our minds going in the right direction. All right, speaking of work, people work for many different reasons. I suspect the main reason that people work is to make money. You know, you go out into society and you exchange, you either create goods or you bring a service, and then you get compensated for it. You get paid for it. If you think about being a school counselor, that's a service. If you think about being a teacher, that's a service. Being a dentist, that's a service. If you produce a good, that would be like being a farmer or a rancher. So I suspect the main reason people work is to make money, but there are other reasons. Some people don't look at it as work. They look at it as their purpose. It's a greater reasoning for being on this earth. When we really get into this, I would hope that each and every one of you, and if there's one thing that I really hope, sincerely hope for each and every one of you, it's that you find something that's your purpose. I don't really look at being a school counselor as a job, or a career. It kind of is a career, but I really look at it as like my purpose. Like, this is what I'm meant to be on earth and do. This is my heart. And when you find something that's your purpose, it doesn't feel like work. You may or may not have heard that saying, find a career that you love or something that's your purpose, and you never work a day in your life. It's like when I get up and I go to school every day, when we're not in a pandemic, it doesn't feel like I'm going to a job, which is a really good thing. Some people work for entertainment. Believe it or not, many people just work for something to do. I think about, everybody thinks being a teacher counselor, it's awesome. You get summers off, but I get super bored. And so one of the other jobs that I do in the summer is, I work for my friend doing hardwood floors, sand refinish install. And I mostly do it to kind of fill my day and to give me something to do. So as we move forward, I want you guys to know that people work for many different reasons. The final thing we're going to talk about today is what I named this part one after, which is, what do you bring to the table? After finishing school someday, and I talked about how that could be, hopefully at a minimum, graduating high school. Some of you may go on and do more training, more education. We'll talk about that in future career lessons. Some of you may do a 2-year school, 4-year school, so on and so forth. Talk more about that in the next lesson. But after finishing school, the vast, overwhelming majority of us will inevitably have to join, quote unquote, the real world. I don't know if you've heard your parents, guardians, grandparents talk about the real world. Well, what is the real world? And this is Mr. Flato's definition, I define the real world as living independently from your guardians, right? That means not living in their basement the rest of your life, not living in their house the rest of their life, being self-sufficient, meaning you provide everything you need in life in terms of making money, feeding yourself, clothing yourself, paying your own bills, so on and so forth, and no longer relying on anyone else for support. That's what the real world is to me, is living independently and going out into the real world as an adult and living independently. When you enter the real world, okay, the real world is going to have one question for you, and this is one of the things I really want you to think about today. What do you bring to the table? Okay, so many of you may be saying, what does that mean, Mr. Flato? Well, That is, what knowledge or skills or abilities do you possess that you can contribute to society that is worth someone compensating or paying you for? Okay, let me say that again. What special knowledge or skills or abilities do you possess that can contribute to society that is worth compensating you for? And if there's one thing we think about today in our preparation and what it is that we're doing in school, even though it's remote school right now, when it comes to careers, I want you to think about that preparation and all of you preparing right now so that when you get out in the real world, you can answer that question. Well, I can be a teacher. Well, I can be a counselor. Well, I can be an architect. Well, I can be an accountant. Well, I can be a contractor. Well, I can be a painter. I can be a roofer. The list goes on, and we'll explore those a little bit here coming up. Thank you all for listening to that. At this time, I'd like you to go into that other link, which Miss Erickson should have gotten in your inbox, and go into forms, fill out all the questions, put some thought into it so I know where you guys are at. Come with in preparation for our next lesson. Make sure you hit submit. Make sure you fill it all out first. And that's all we're doing for today. Can't wait to see you in a couple more days.